What's up? How you doing? Here we are again. Beautiful night. Tonight we're cooking pork loin. Got these things here. And Anaheim peppers. Look at that. That's a good tasty pepper. Now, they have a little bit of heat, but very little. You have to use your imagination to find the heat. It's very little. So we're gonna grill these, put them in a brown paper bag, let them sweat a little bit, and then peel the skin right off. Cut it up into nice long strips, salt, pepper, olive oil, and a little bit of balsamic vinegar. So anyway, we're gonna use a tasty little rub here, pecan, whichever way you say it. Good stuff. We used it yesterday. We're going to use it again today. So I have the fire going there. And today I was thinking about bowling. You know, I used to do it quite often when I was little. And I would go to the bowling alley. My father would drop me off. I'm talking about 5th, 6th grade. And he'd take off. And I'd bowl there a little bit, and then I'd go and I'd play in the arcade. I was a big fan of the arcade back then. Defender was my game. Loved Defender. Could not get enough of it. As a matter of fact, there was a place near my house. It was a pizza place, and they had 3 games. They had Defender. Defender was always there. The other 2 would switch out, but usually the other game would be Phoenix, which I loved playing Phoenix. And the third one was Tempest sometimes it was Missile Command. But, you know, I liked Tempest, it was good, but my game was Defender. But I also liked Phoenix. And I couldn't wait to get off of school to go up to this pizza place and play Defender. And in those days, those games were so popular, you had to put your quarters up, which meant you were the next one in line. And there was this 2 kids there. They were teenagers, maybe 19, 18, whatever, and they were really good at Defender. You know, 500,000, 600,000 points. They were really good. But anyway, that's what I used to do. It was very fun, you know. Bowling like the Flintstones. But nowadays, you know, you get that stuff in your house. I mean, I actually have Defender, you know, here at the house, so I can play it anytime I want. But you know, and the bowling alley or the arcade had a unique smell. Not a bad smell. It was kind of like an attic smell, like somebody's attic. So I'd go in there and spend the whole day playing that stuff. And I remember being in my father's car when I was little. You know, we'd go out every weekend, we'd go somewhere. And I always kept an eye out for new arcades. And if I saw a new arcade, I would get the cross streets. And then on a Saturday, I would take off, get on the trains, and find that arcade and go and investigate and play. So, my favorite arcade, it doesn't exist anymore, was a place called Teddy Bear's Arcade. And I discovered it by accident. I was downtown one day after doing my little tour on the trains, and somebody was coming out of this kind of like a fancy hotel place, and they opened up the door, and I heard the sound of video games, and immediately my radar pulled me in, and I go, what is that place? And I went in there, and it was huge, big arcade, teddy bears, and pitch black in there. No lights, just the games playing. And I went in there and I found Defender by the door, and I played it, and I couldn't get enough of Defender. Still like Defender. And then I remember that somebody had released an album of arcade game songs. Defender was there, Pac-Man, Frogger. But it was like, I'm a Defender, and I played that. It was corny, but you know, for the time it was good. So yeah, and then I became a fan of Smash TV. I still love Smash TV. You know, every once in a while you go somewhere and they'll have it. I'll play it. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna get going here with this stuff. Alright, let's try this out. So another thing about the arcades, it had gotten so bad that kids would skip school and go to the arcade instead, which was more fun. And then they passed laws that said if you were under the age of 18, you couldn't be in an arcade during school hours. So I tried to go one time after the law was passed, and they actually had a bouncer waiting there in the front, and he wouldn't let you in. So, but we'd still go on the weekends. That lasted for, I don't know, a few years, and then moved on to something else. Flavor. Now flip them over and repeat like the shampoo says. You know, the arcade thing for me was so impressive that one night I was working my father over to open up an arcade. I said to him, you know, it's a good business opportunity, open up an arcade. They're very busy, and I think it's a good idea. I wanted the arcade. I wanted to, you know, go in there and have access to Defender. That never happened. But and then another time we were going somewhere. It was a weekend, and I went downstairs a little bit earlier than everyone else, and I ran up to that pizza place that had Defender, and they had just opened up. I don't know, I mean, it was not only a pizza place, they had breakfast, but I went in there and I was the only one, and there was a guy emptying the change from the machines, and I go, awesome opportunity here. So I said to him, because I was thinking maybe I could buy one of these for the house, and I said, how much do these machines cost? I'd like to get one. And he's like, yeah, you can get one. I go, well, how much is it? And he says, $2,500. And I said, no, I'm not going to get one, not with that kind of price. But I always had in my head, now I have arcade machines in the house, so, you know, I'm very happy with that. But yeah, when he told me that back when Defender was popular, that it was $2,500, $2,500 back then to me was like 50,000, you know, some crazy amount. And then I saw Silver Spoons, that sitcom, and that the father, Rick Schroeder's father on that, he had arcade games in there. And I go, wow, that is awesome. Have those in your house. Good hand-eye coordination. I remember Sugar Ray Leonard, when he was training to fight Tommy Hearns, Hagler, he would play Pac-Man because it improved hand-eye coordination. So, and that was my excuse too. I was like, I'm going to play for hand-eye coordination. But I love Pac-Man too. And Miss Pac-Man, when Miss Pac-Man came out, for a period of time, it was even more popular than Pac-Man. You know, love Miss Pac-Man. Once you memorized the pattern, you could be on that for 30, 40, 50 minutes playing on one quarter. There were these kids that knew the pattern on Pac-Man. I mean, I knew a good pattern on Miss Pac-Man, but Pac-Man, the original, was a little bit different. And these kids that would wear their baseball cap backwards, they knew a really good pattern, and they would be on that for like an hour. Yeah. Another good place that I would go that had arcades, Hampton Beach, New Hampshire, and Old Orchard Beach in Maine. They had some good arcades there by the beach. They had the old-fashioned ones too. Zoltar was there, and even the ones from, I think, the 1920s, where put a penny in or something and spin it and you would see, I don't know what they call them, adult film, but they're not. They're like rated G by today's standards. And I don't even know if those places are still there, but I think they probably are. One time I went really north, Maine, past Garland, and it was just woods, no life. Be like trees, like Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia's like that. And then you would notice one house, very peaceful up there, and beautiful. You can smell that pepper cooking. That's a great aroma. You know, sometimes when we touch the honesties too much, that's a good Dan Hill song. I'm a big fan of Dan Hill. Love that song. Although when they played it on the radio, some stations had the shorter version, which I did not like. But Dan Hill is awesome. One time I was in the record store, and there was this is Strawberry's record store, and Dan Hill had released a new album at the time. The song Can't We Try was on there. I think that's what it was called, Can't We Try, just a little bit harder. The Pleasure Center was on there, and I looked at it and I go, wow, this is the guy that sings that song Sometimes When We Touch. And I went up to the guy that worked in there. He was like a hippie, had the long hair, beard, and I said to him, do you have that album that has that song Sometimes When We Touch? And he's like, no. He goes, that's out of print. But he goes, there's a new one there. I go, yeah. And even he was a fan. He said that, yeah, he goes, I've been waiting for years. But then, you know, it was a hit album, I think. He had a duet on that, and then he kind of faded again. Dan Hill. Dan Hill is awesome. He sings a song on the First Blood movie, closing credits. It's a Long Road. I'm a big fan of that song, It's a Long Road. Perfect song for the ending of that movie and what that character has to go through. But yeah, I wish Dan Hill would put something out. Maybe he has, I gotta check, you know, but obviously hasn't been a hit. Has not been a hit, otherwise I would have heard. And I do read Billboard magazine, so I have not noticed Dan Hill with a song on the top 200. But I love Dan Hill's voice. Food is almost done. You know what's another good tune? Leader of the band, Dan Fogelberg. That's a good tune. They don't write songs like that anymore. They can't. The talent is not there for that kind of stuff. Dan Fogelberg. Kind of like Folgers Coffee. But that song speaks to me. That's a really good tune. And there's an old obscure song that most people don't know about, and I used to listen to it all the time. You feel the emotion of that song. Never Been to Me. Awesome tune. Very slow. It's a ballad, you know, but it's a good tune. Never Been to Me. Charlene, or what's her name? I think Charlene sings that. But awesome tune. She has a little speaking part in the middle too. Some radio stations removed it, but I like that part in there. A Okay, everything is done. And I'll close off with what Mr. Rogers used to say. And I'll be back when the day is new, and I'll have more ideas for you, and you'll have things you'll want to talk about. I will too. That's it. See you next time.